Hey, what's up, guys? This is Gabriel Mashudet, and welcome to this show about scuba diving accidents. And today, one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about one of the diving accidents that is mainly the most famous accident out there. And this accident is an accident that happened in the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt. I'm a scuba diving instructor, and I used to live in Dahab. I have dived the Blue Hole plenty of times. And this is going to be my first video of this project on scuba diving accidents. My whole goal is to just give you my point of view. Although I used to be a professional diving instructor, I'm not a professional diving accidents person. But hey, after a lot of, 500 students certified and maybe 5,000 dives or maybe more, I think I know what I'm talking about a little bit. So hopefully I can give you some value. And yeah, let's get started with this horrible accident of Yuri. So this is Yuri, and Yuri was a technical diver, and this is one of the most awful deaths out there because this was recorded, and we're going to be watching the video together. I'm going to give you my opinion about what's happening, but I want to give you an introduction a little bit more about the accident itself. So first of all, the first disclaimer is that the Yuri was an accomplished technical diver and videographer. Very important to keep in mind that he was a videographer, and he's going to be recording his last dive, his fatal dive. And this is going to provide an unprecedented look into deadly consequence of diving, not without the preparation and awareness, but potentially with some mistakes that Yuri did in this case. They're going to underscore the importance of understanding dive psychology, equipment management, and emergency. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the Blue Hole. This is the Blue Hole in Egypt. It's actually important to understand how this actually works. The way that it works is we enter through this area called the bells, and it's called the bells because once you go down, your tank usually hits the rocks and it sounds like bells. And you go all the way from 0 to 32 meters. That is not by any means normal at all, okay? So it's a very, steep dive, and you end up at 32 meters very, very fast. And then the first challenge happens, especially when you have students, is you have to take your students all the way to the Blue Hole. And it's 250 meters of a swim that, although if you're not a diver, doesn't sound like a lot, walking 250 meters, trust me, it's a proper swim, it's a proper dive that you're doing. And you're trying not to have people dropping, because as you can see here, there's going to be a drop here. Here says exit from the Blue Hole. It's 52 meters. So we're going to go to the Blue Hole that is this area here. Now, one of the things that happens here is, you can see here the Blue Hole, that's the main entry, and you end up walking with people all the way here to the recommended entry point. These are restaurants here. You can have, lunch and whatever. And this is technically where you're going to enter. And you can see here, this is the swim that is around a coral area. The Blue Hole is submerged. It's a submerged sinkhole, as you can see here, located in the Red Sea in Egypt. It's a few kilometers north from Dahab. When you're in Dahab, people ask you, do you want to dive north or south? This is going to be the north. And as you can see, it features a wide circular opening. It's approximately 130 meters in diameter, this area, and it drops all the way to over 100 meters. Extremely complex dive. The Blue Hole is surrounded by a shallow reef. You see it here. That drops steeply into sinkhole, providing an entry point that is deceptive because it looks very calm and very beautiful, but is highly complex. Let's talk about the complexities of the Blue Hole. This is the area where we technically go there and we do prepare the dive. As you can see here, there's some plaques, memorials. This is James, the dive master. I was there when this was put. Early 2000s. So this is the area of the Blue Hole, and you can see here, let's go here. This is the area you can actually see it a bit easier how this is going to be the swim, and there's going to be mainly the entry. This is a normal kind of like recreational dive that you can actually see. So it's not very complex. I don't know, this doesn't seem like the Blue Hole. Actually, this is not the Blue Hole. My mistake. I just opened Reddit. This is going to be our Blue Hole here. Okay, my apologies. This is better. Okay, there's the Blue Hole because the Blue Hole has no other dive sites around. Now, the arch is 55 meters in depth, and the arch is horizontal tunnel that leads out from the Blue Hole to the open sea. And you can actually see it in this photo here a bit better. This is going to be the arch here. You can't really see it here, but as you can see here, what happens is you start going diving from here, from where the little arrow is, and you're going to connect outside into the ocean. And you can see here through this kind of like this entry that is a bit strange, okay? Now the problem with this is that this arch is approximately 55 meters deep. It's horizontal tunnel that leads out from the blue hole, as I mentioned before, to the open sea. And it's about 26 meters long, and it features a roof of walls and coral rock. And it's magnificent, but the problem is that you're going to be very deep. Now, the problem with this is, as you can see here, there's let me go here. There's a huge amount of diving accidents that happen here, okay? The theory is that over 150 divers have lost their lives here, and it's one of the most dangerous dive sites in the world, and it's all based on the arch. That's the only reason why this is so interesting for anyone, is this arch that we have here, where, I mean, in this case, Yuri was trying to dive. So let's talk a little bit about Yuri and the dive. He's going to be doing a dive at way deeper than normal. Okay, it's a technical dive. He knows what he's doing. So in case that you are, just watching this and you have never done, deep diving, let me stop this. So he's going to be going with twin tanks. He's not going to breathe air. Normal people, non-divers, believe that we breathe oxygen, we breathe air. And he's going to go with a mix. It's called trimix. So he's going to have a mix, a different compound of breathing gases, and he's going to go down. And one of the things you're going to notice here is that he's doing the dive, but he also has his filming gear, okay, his camera, that if you've ever done recording underwater, even at 10 meters, is not easy. But in this case, the camera that he has is very expensive, heavy, even underwater, and it's not easy to move around. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get the video working, and I'm going to be showing you, and be patient with me. I'm going to stop and tell you what I see during the accident, okay? So we're going to put a diving, here the film, and I'm going to open the screen, and I'm going to try to show you what is going on there. So, okay, let's get started. Okay, so in this case, this is the film. Now, obviously, this is in the year 2000, so we're not going to expect amazing footage of Yuri right now here. Okay, so this is the footage right now. He's going in. And the initial part, the camera is all over the place. He doesn't have to film perfectly right now because guess what? It's not really important. And the key reference for you right now is the camera is not going to show his depth. So the reference for you is the light. Okay, we can see light. We can see divers there. He's going through right now through the bells. And this could be easily, it seems like students based on he's clearing this mask. So clearly they're not... They're not professional divers by any means. It's the kind of students that I should take. And when you're a professional diver, you can actually recognize very easily who is professional, who's not professional. I'm trying to fix my screen a little bit so you guys can see a bit more. So let me fix this. Okay, whoops. Okay. Okay, so he's trying to go a bit deeper. He still has divers underneath. That is kind of like a big sign that, okay, let me try to improve this. I'm using OBS. Okay, cool. And I'm going to maximize this. Okay, now we are on track. So obviously the camera is not aligned right now. I don't think he's recording anything. You can still see things going pretty okay for him. There's not a lot here that is going on. Has been 1 minute. He's going to go down very fast. That's one of the interesting things. This is not unusual to see so much light right now. The camera is not really focused anywhere. And this is one of the unusual things right now. So we don't really know where he's going. We can see some bubbles right now, but not a lot. And now keep in mind the time of the day. So it's kind of like a late dive, like a 5 p.m. dive. I don't know if the clock was accurate, but it's kind of not normal to do this dive so late. Usually we do technical dives, and hopefully, I'm pretty sure there will be a technical diver that will correct me in the comments, but we don't do these dives at the time of the day, okay? So we're starting to see right now some formation down below. This tells me he's starting to go down because in the blue hole, there's not a lot that you can actually see down, but it seems to me he's still up there mucking around, because that seems to me that's the surface. Okay, we want to speed up this a little bit more. Okay, so now we're going down properly, and we can see that because you see how the bubbles are going up. So you see the bubbles, leaving down, and it seems to me that he's actually now swimming, and this is the first sign that the light that you see there is going to be his light, and this is the first coral wall heading towards like the arch. So the first question here, and I'm going to stop this, is I'm going to zoom myself here, is we don't know if he's heading towards the arch or not. That is the first question. Now, technically the way it works is you're trying to go as deep as possible first, and then you start ascending to shallower depth. So in this case, and I'm sorry to pause this, it's kind of difficult to know if he was planning to go directly, as deep as possible. So he's trying to go down very, very fast descent. And the problem with this descent is that it's very difficult because we don't know if he's descending at that speed because he has the confidence to do it, or because he is something called an uncontrolled descent. An uncontrolled descent in this dive site would be very easily. Let's keep in mind right now how dark this is. So, one of the things that happens, and this is kind of like a cocky comment, is when you are a very good diver or a diver with experience, it's not that I'm a good diver, but you can't tell the depth. And if you're a diver, in the comments, please comment below. You can tell the depth based on the darkness. So in many cases, when I'm watching movies with my kids and I see a dive scene, I can tell the depth. And this seems to me that is already deeper than 40 meters. Okay, so we're moving into that area where we're moving away from recreational diving to more like serious diving, more technical diving. So based on the darkness here, he's going way deeper already than 40 meters. Let's don't forget the arch starts at 55 meters. So right now there's no camera pointing anywhere. And again, you have to keep in mind that my only reference is these bubbles. And one of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to go down, but the bubbles seem to me going so fast down. So we're starting to see almost nothing here. There's not a lot of reference here, and he keeps going down. So at any stage you see the bubbles stabilizing or going a bit less fast, a bit slower. So this is the first sign that something is kind of not going super good. And then it seems to me that he is just hit something there. So I'm going to explain this a little bit because this is something that is very difficult to understand unless you have been in that area. The blue hole is not a completely sink, it's not completely whole. There's like some steps down below, and I think they're around 85 meters to 100 meters. So I need to research at what depth they found the body. But I know in this case, he could be easily at that depth, around 80 meters. Or I have a feeling this could be one of those layers at that depth of, like, let's say 80 meters. One of the things that I find surprising is, I don't know where his camera is. I think his camera will be floating here on his chest, potentially with a strap. That is going to make it more difficult for him to control things when he gets overwhelmed, because you're going to get overwhelmed. And the problem when we're going on these kind of dives is we have so much stuff with us that sometimes the things we bring make our life more difficult. So in this case, I don't know why I have this hunch. I haven't prepared this video that he could be technically at, 80 meters, 75 meters. Let's see. Okay. So we could keep going down. It seems to me he's on a layer now, like he's trying to stop, and boom, oof. He stopped, and wait, okay, so something happened there. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and trying to describe this a little bit more. So when he goes down and he hits that hard, that impact like that, if we go back, that seems to me is a bit hard, and we see there 81.7. Okay, so wow, that was insanely fast. He went almost from 2 minutes to minute 5:37. So 6 minutes to go 81 meters down. So he was going extremely fast, almost 10-12 meters per minute. Way fast. And I think I'm not saying you can't do this that speed. I'm saying is when you're doing such a difficult dive, you want to be able, number one is he's doing it without any reference. And one of the problems with the blue hole is the lack of reference anywhere. So you're going down and you can barely see anything. So that makes it super complex. Number two is there's going to be narcosis. I'm pretty sure he had experience with narcosis. That is when we feel kind of drunk and overconfident. But the other thing that happens here, we'll talk about that later on, is he's diving solo, right? So there's no one that said to him like, hey, you're going too fast. So so far, this actually already gives me the creeps. So let's go. Okay, so he's looking at the depth. Let me see if I can find something more here in the depth. I mean, he must have a lot of air right now, so it's not a big deal. Poof. Okay, so I don't know. 87.2, 81.7. He stopped there. I don't know what 16. It could be the bars that he has. I don't know if this kind of a computer can actually read his air consumption. I don't know if in 2002 or 2000 this was available. So I don't know. Maybe you can comment on below. Okay. So he seems to me that right now he's playing with something in his hand. He's trying to sort something there, and he's trying to find his footing. But he is okay. So right now, the hand keeps moving a little bit too much for my liking. I mean, that's not normal. Back hand again. He seems to be looking again at the gauge. That is almost like the third time he looks at the gauge. And in a kind of way, he seems to be crawling on the ground. That's not. I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually hitting the coral and the rocks, and yeah, it's creating some kind of like murky soil by hitting it. You can see there, boom. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I hate to be right. So as you can see here, he landed super hard. That is the first thing that tells me that he was doing an uncontrolled descent, because that's not the way you land. I mean, you kind of like easy. And in fact, if you were going to be descending easy, you'll be looking at your computer and like, okay, I'm doing well. But now he descended that hard, and now one of the things that we see is this murky situation here, that this is only achieved by you, you, the diver, making the murky movement with the water. So yeah, not great. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So now obviously he's going to get stressed because this is happening, and this is not good by any means. That in a kind of way, if he had stayed still for a little bit, he's still moving is the problem. So he's moving, and this is not solid terrain. And this movement of head that he's doing right now, this is not good, okay? So we can tell right now that he's over exhausting himself. He's actually doing a lot of movement here. And this is actually stressing the crap out of me. I mean, this is not good. Okay, so he's moving around. There's fish around. Obviously, is that fish? Okay, I'm going to go back. Be patient with me. I hope that's not. Okay, let's see. It seems to me it's not. It's like a fin. Okay, so lots of movement here. That's not his hands, and it seems to me that right now he's panicking. He's hyperventilating everywhere. And there's so much mess. There's something there, the cable, and boom, stops. So that is, I think it was a stop based on respect. Potentially the camera focused on a place that we shouldn't be watching here. Let's go back a little bit, try to analyze what happens. That was very fast, the moment from him walking here right now. He's almost in control, and this is where the panic happens. As you can see, one of the things I heard was that he got entangled. As you can see here a little bit. Let's go back slowly. I hate to do this right now. Maybe we should try to change the settings to put the playback speed very slow. So let's try this to see if this works here. So one of the things that we see here is, one of the things I heard was that his reel got entangled with his mask and the camera. Okay, so as you can see, there seems to be a rope here. I don't know if you see it there. So I wonder if that's like a real rope, potentially. And another thing that I heard was that potentially that real rope had to do something to do with entanglement in the dive computer. That would kind of make him impatient. Okay. Right now, it seems to me he's not holding the camera at any point. He's just struggling to find his bearings. And he's so deep right now that any kind of hyperventilation that he does is going to make it very difficult for him to try to understand where he is. Super dark, narcosis. He has no one around. The more that he moves right now, the worse that he's doing. Obviously, depth is going up because you can see the silk going up. Okay, so he seems to be trying to find his bearings, and that movement that he does there is kind of like an aggressive move. He seems that he lifted a little bit there. Okay, and that is kind of like a normal thing because when you're moving around and you breathe more, obviously your lungs may have a bit more air, so your buoyancy will be slightly higher on those moments of panic. That is kind of weird because you think that in moments of panic, your buoyancy will drop automatically. Sometimes you go like, and these movements obviously is going to lift you up, and then boom, crashing again. But keep in mind that this is not flat terrain, and then it's highly likely that he's going to, that light is not helping him either, right? So he has a light, and it seems to me the light is going like that, potentially blinding him, creating more confusion in his mask. And what stresses me here is the lack of reference that he has, right? Has no lack of reference. He hasn't checked his computer again. So it seems to me that the problem happened when he was going down, okay? Very strange he went down with absolutely any reference. There we go. So that, I don't know what that is, okay? Because it doesn't seem like fins. Potentially he made so much mess of the water that it creates kind of like this murky water that fish love. So that could be a fish. I don't really know. That looks like a fish there. And then, and then it is what it is. He's going to pass out. I mean, he's going to have the way that he actually dies. He has toxicity based on the hyperventilation potentially, and then he has convulsions and opens his mouth. Ray comes out, he swallows water, and you're gone, right? So that it will be the way that it happened. So yeah, it seems to me that this movement of there's still movement of him trying to move around. This will not be like that. The movement of the water, if he's not, there's no currents here. There's not like there's a huge current or mega thermoclines that could affect that, and then obviously, yeah. Let's go back to normal speed. There you go, the silk there. And then that little cable is kind of weird. Seems to me like it's a camera. Seems to me there's like a camera attachment. Well, don't know what that is. It's not part of the reel for sure. Not in that position, and boom, that's it. So camera goes there, and then, finish. Okay, 3 minutes later. So yeah, pretty, not very nice situation, obviously. And I mean, rest in peace. I know it took a while to pick him up. It wasn't an easy operation to pick him up. And I was in Egypt. I was in Egypt there. I was in Egypt in 2002. So that was a few years later. So anyway, so the whole point with this, trying to understand the situation is, the things that I think we can learn from this is that, number one, what it kind of makes me a little bit mad, is the fact that he went diving alone. Number two, it seems to me that was a little bit unplanned. And look, I don't know the guy, and you may be watching this and thinking like, Gabriel, you're an asshole for saying this. I'm not an asshole, okay? I had certified so many divers, and in fact, I'm going to Fiji to do shark diving with my 15-year-old son doing his open water course. But the catch is the dive being at 5 p.m. randomly, no dive buddy, okay? Even at 5 p.m., the fact that he brought his camera was a little bit weird because it's not the best light for you to do filming. And then he goes down, it seems to me he goes down directly into the hole. He's not having any reference. We don't see any line. He could have literally set up a line, okay, to go down, but he didn't. Okay, so the problem is that there's no indications at any stage there was a very well-planned dive. Okay, and I'm not saying he didn't have a skill. Okay, I also fly planes, and look, you can be a great pilot, but if you don't plan your flight and there's bad weather, you're going to be facing this issue. And obviously, that's what happened in this case. So yeah, this is the case of Yuri. One of the important things to understand is that I truly believe that this could have been prevented. And in many cases, when you live in Dahab, when you live in the Blue Hole, when you've been there, it's an ego kind of thing. Okay, I mean, I've never crossed the arch. I've seen the arch very close. I didn't cross it. So potentially you can tell me, you have never done it. No, I've never done it. But in many cases, I don't think it's worth it based on this ego factor of I did the Blue Hole, I did the arch. And keep in mind that I have done dives where after the dive, I was like, that was pretty stupid for me to do. I shouldn't have done it. I mean, because all these people did there, in many cases, they were trying to be good divers. No one goes diving pretending to, I mean, they're going to plan to kill themselves. So this is my first video analysis of this very, very sad accident. And I think is the fact that it's being recorded, it helps us to understand that sometimes it doesn't matter how much experience you have, that is a problem, okay, that you're going to be facing. So it's the story of Yuri Lipski. This is his death in the year 2000. And in the Blue Hole in Ibiza is a place that I love. So this is my first video. If you like the content, I'll appreciate if you comment, if you like it, you subscribe. I'm going to be focusing completely in diving accidents from my experience, dive theories, and this is my point of view. And I know in the diving community, there's all these very interesting voices. So I'm not the #1 expert. And if you're an expert, comment below. Tell me what you think. I'm here to learn as well as hopefully give some value. Okay? Thank you for watching. See you soon.